All right, in this video, we're going to look at what effect each of these terms has on the final value of the function. So we're still continuing to think about end behavior and trying to figure out how we can think about end behavior from an equation. So we're going to look at what happens as we take the value of x and we head to infinity. So what happens as x approaches infinity? Let me show you how I set this table up. So when x is 0, it plugs in 0 to each of these individual terms. So you can see here if x is 0, all my terms are 0 except the last one, which is 1. So the value of the function is just going to be 1. Now, if x were 10, the value of the first term is 500, the value of the second term is 1,000, the value of the next term is 20, and the value of the last term is 1. As you can see here in this first row, okay, the fact that there was a plus 1 at the end made a huge difference in the final value of the equation. But in the second row, the fact that it ended with a plus 1 at the end, right, if it hadn't, it would have been 15, 20, not a huge difference in the value of the equation. So this plus 1 term at the end, just the fact that we've gotten to 10, it already has become less valuable. We're going to see what happens as x becomes larger. So now let's make x 100. So as you can see, when x is 100, the value of the function is 600,201. Okay, so once again, we could not even add 1. No one would even notice if I was talking about, think about this as being how much money I'm going to give you. Would you have really noticed if I forgot to add on that extra 1? And honestly, once you're at 600,000, you're probably barely noticing this 200. So really our two first big terms here, I could just add those together and I could say it's approximately 600,000, and I could ignore these two terms, okay? And again, we're thinking about what happens as we go towards infinity. We are at 100, nowhere near infinity. Let's plug in 10,000. Okay, so at 10,000, it has moved now into scientific notation. And that means that this is 5 followed by 11 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is 5 followed by 11 zeros, but there's a 1 right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. As you can see here, this first term is basically this last term. The fact that we added this 20,000, it doesn't even show up in the scientific notation. It's there, and truly this is an approximation, but you can barely see it. There should be a 1 at the end. Who even cares at this point? So as x approaches infinity, right, the whole function f of x gets really close. It's approaching approximately just 0.5 x cubed. You could just plug it into 0.5 x cubed and ignore the rest of the terms, and you'd have a general idea about what's happening with this function. We're going to look at another one, another example, and see why it's this term here. What makes this term special?